down. So, we're gonna come up with a topic eventually. Damn it. Thought I wasn't gonna spin out like that.
Oh, shit.
Need another car anyways. Yes, electric.
It don't look like you need this, dog.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Alright, so we're gonna talk about a topic. It's gonna be cool. It's gonna be awesomos. It's gonna be amazing. God damn it. Did I fuck up my tire? No, I didn't. Alright, cool. No, I did fuck up a tire, because I'm not going fast enough. Yep. Yeah, I did. I need a new car. Or no, wait. I don't. So yeah. I think about stuff sometimes. And, stuff doesn't think about me. Because, topics? Let's see here. Let's see here. Let's see. Topics. Something to do with mental health. Let me see. Topics. Let's see, I try sometimes to analyze myself. And, I'd say I overanalyze things sometimes, but that's what I do. It's my whole thing. That's the reason why I come up with all these topics all the time, is because I'm constantly thinking about random things, and I grasp onto that train of thought, and then I decide what I'm gonna do with it. Whenever let's see.
Screwed it.
Talk about I'm freaking tired a little bit, but still thinking about stuff. What am I thinking about? What do I want to think about? How do I want to think about it? Oh. Ooh! Wait, there's a motorcycle right behind me. Come on, let's go. Alright. There we go.
Not the car!
Oh wait, I realized I don't have any freaking ammo left. Alright, what's a good topic? Talk about non-invasive, something about mental health. Okay, let's talk about,
Look out the
yes.
way!
Got my motorcycle. Niceness. Let's talk about a good topic. Yeah. Yeah. Let's talk about a good topic. Nice. Got it 3 times. Oh my god. I was trying to. Alright.
Oh crap, that hurt.
Thinking about oh, okay. Alright, I got an idea. Let's see here. Oh, where your thoughts go when you're done with them in your subconscious? Your subconscious, and that's the reason why sometimes I like to try to hook up with my subconscious directly, to be able to realize that there are reflexes that in my subconscious that are actually through suggestion.
We are en route. Air support en route.
Suspect doing 60 miles per hour on a black motorbike.
Awesome, there's a fence there. It's really good. Well, okay. I like to delve into my subconscious and try to pick out a thought. And when I pick out a thought, that thought, whether suggested or come up by me, I realize that thought itself can create a reflex. Oh, and as that thought creates a reflex, I try to envision what kind of reflex it actually has, or what kind of effect that either suggestion or thought that I come up with on my own will have on me. When I actually do find like okay, if I hang around a bunch of older people who have a little bit of stuff wrong with their joints and they have to start taking vitamins, supplements, and stuff like
You
that,
getting robbed, chief.
I'll actually find myself talking exactly like them sometimes. It's not uncommon to be able to mimic the people who you not admire, but hang around a lot or talk to a lot. So much so that sometimes you can find yourself or even forget the reasons why you were able to think about things when you were around another person. Or I guess what is your mind is what it is your mind is trying to prioritize things sometimes. And by putting it into your subconscious, it turns it into a thought provoked reflex. And as that reflex comes about, oh, god damn it. Thought I was going to hit that middle sweet spot, and it didn't. Oh, damn it.
Whatever.
Alright. But yeah, basically that's, it's a complicated topic, I think. But what you have to understand is is whenever someone like if like I'd say when my dad was short with me, I got it ingrained into my system sometimes to actually be short with people. To be short with people because I guess time was money to someone who was important to me. Because so much was running on his shoulders sometimes, and so much was running on my stepdad's shoulders as well. People can say that, I don't know. I think that like sometimes people, people can flip-flop ideas sometimes too, and that kind of doesn't sit well with me too either. But it's more like their subconscious is telling them something to be able to be like another person, or like I think on TV they see so much change happening all the time, or on the movies you see, oh my God, you see a subplot, you see something happening, and you see something happening, and you see that person growing and changing as a person, or you see people as a group of people changing and coming together as like as they would, like, oh, it's a family and they love each other, but they're not really a family. It's like, man, it's really hard to say that those subplots and suggestions somehow also create reflexes that are sometimes without warrant, and people who don't. Oh my gosh. Oh man, that was so much fun. I wanted to jump on the sand, but the more that I think about chain reactions in people's thought processes, like they like and I don't want to constantly say that there are, but people themselves put chain reactions on what thoughts they run through their head constantly, or like they allow media to manipulate them in certain ways sometimes. Like, I don't want people to die, but in certain ways people die because people are inherently misunderstand plot, like the world's plot points. It's like a thing, you know. It's like,
Don't become no murder case now, nigga. Get off that ride, home.
and and everybody thinks that it's a story or something like that, or there's like there's something going on, and there's always stuff going on, but when you start to be able to self-reflect, I think you start to be able to reflect on other people's situations and other people's problems, and you start to want to think that those problems can be solvable, and those problems are solvable through what people would call logical thinking or logical thought processes. What you have to understand is, to certain people, they are thinking logically. They're doing what they did because they experienced a certain trauma or a certain thing, and that happens. I'm not saying that like you see like people's families getting killed. Imagine that daughter that basically just grows up without anyone. Imagine a girl that, or a woman or a man, having an entire childhood literally completely by yourself and having to deal with so much shit. My mom had to deal with that. My mom basically did things by herself, and it's the reason why she didn't take no shit. It's the reason why I think she's my rock. And my mom's dad died when she was 13, It probably had a lot to do with the nuclear and or stuff. It probably had a lot to do with what was happening. In the world. It had a lot to do with what cancer-causing agents there were around everything. It's not like we had bad genes or something like that, or we just died cancer-prone. No, that's... You know, it's just...
Suspect doing 70 miles per hour in a black
My mom's
four-door.
mom died when she was 18, when she was 16, I think. So, it was like... Or, so she basically had a job, and she did what she did. So my I was too young to remember this, but god damn it, breakdance.
Citizens report at 5:05 on Fort Zancudo approach road in Lago Zancudo.
My close cousin that had a lot of she died when I was 2, and she died in Hollywood from a cop that was dating her at the time, and he was not properly psych evaled. And that cop
Suspect southbound
killed her
on
and then killed himself.
68.
Dang it. And that's the kind of thought processes that I see in myself when I see a suggestion like that. There's a lot of pain that you have to register sometimes, and I didn't even know how to think at all, and I had literally seen her. I remember seeing her at least once, and then I was like, when am I going to see her again? And that happened, and my aunt took my other cousin to her daughter to Ireland for the entirety of her life, basically, or the entirety of her growing up childhood. So I'd say there was a lot of people who thought they'd be in my life right now and aren't, I guess. And there's a lot of people who you never know if it would have been different, and I really do wish sometimes that I was able to see some people, and
Hey, forgive me.
I really wish there was a part of me that could have fought for people like that, and that kind of reflex, I guess. Awesome. Reacting to pain, I guess, immediately when I start my life. It's not a good feeling. But you know, I mean, the real reasons why you try to realize a goal or to realize something in your life, and something that sits with you, it can cause a suggestion in your life to be able it can cause a reaction in your life to be able to see where you stand on a scale of like, are you sane, or are you acting appropriately, you know? So there's a bunch of stuff that people don't understand or see. And I'd say that there's a lot of reasons that God damn it. I'd say that there's a lot of reasons why I have certain reflexes to stand off from people. And I'm working on that, trying to, at least. I mean, you can't blame things on stuff that happened in your childhood, but you can't not say that it didn't happen, you know? Ah! Damn it. But also to, I mean, my reflexes of wanting to be near a person, to be able to say, hey, I think you're you think you're cute, and I like your hair or your eyes, and I think maybe we could go out one time or something like that, you know? I don't know.
Suspect eastbound in
Son of a
northern
bitch.
Fort Zancudo.
I gotta go. Shit. No! God dang it. Realizing that there are reasons why I don't trust a lot of people. And it has everything to do with the way that I learned how to interact sometimes. You're afraid sometimes that people, the way that they'll react about you being a certain way or saying a certain thing, even though they're not gonna react badly, you know, they're gonna be like, oh, that sucks, man, I really want you to have a good time, that's great. And I'm just like, yeah, but it's not just about you, it's about a whole bunch of different people that are here in this certain place. And it's like, I don't know, it's just,
Screw this. Ooh, too close.
I don't know, it makes me feel like, it makes me feel suffocated, you know? It makes me feel like I can't breathe. Like, it makes me feel like I'm having a panic attack sometimes. But, and I put it off a lot of times. I always thought that it was cool to just shoot the breeze and everybody's having a great time and that's the whole point. It's just like, yeah, everybody's having a great time. But unless I'm in control of a situation or I'm in control of myself, I feel like I'm not doing the right thing, or like I'm not feeling the right emotions, or I'm not putting forth the best foot that I want to put forward. If someone wants to were to want to be around me, and it makes me nervous. That stuff makes me nervous. It makes me way too nervous and too into outside influences. Like, I try to. It's like a sick game inside my head sometimes, with the way I try to guess what people are thinking, and if I get it wrong, then I feel stupid. And it's really hard to try to get stuff out whenever I'm suggesting things or whenever I'm trying to push something toward a goal, I guess. And whenever I actually do get something done, I'm satisfied. Like, I'm just like, okay, I got that page done. It's really hard to get to the next page. The reason why I liked video games when I was younger and when I did stuff, because it's like, oh my god, you don't have to do anything to make it big. Like, you have to move around your fingers and stuff like that, and get good hand-eye coordination. That's all you got to do. And I think that in a way that it was just explained to me in a simple manner, and that's the reason why I took to it so easily. Because sometimes there's nothing easy about this. If people like are thrown into these situations, like, there's nothing easy about this whole situation that's happening on the screen.
Citizens reporting a reckless driver.
There's nothing easy. It's like there's a dude shooting at me, and I'm in a car with 2 flat tires, and I'm using the entire amount of this parking lot to be able to steer in the right direction. I'm using different stuff as roadblocks. And I'm also fucking up hardcore. But
Suspect eastbound in
alright.
a graphite vapid sand key. Citizens report a reckless driver on Fort Zancudo Approach Road.
The more I try to justify those reflexes in my own head,
Fort Zancudo Approach Road.
because there are reflexes of being stupid or saying something stupid, or I think sometimes what people really need to understand is not to pressure people, because you never know what kind of day is going on in their head. Because I've definitely felt pressured sometimes. And there are people that I've felt comfortable around. And maybe that sounds like a maybe it just sounds like a pet peeve, like, oh, there's certain people that I just don't want to be around, but it's just...
Dispatch, suspect has managed to crash.
Roger that.
But I think that the more you realize that there's a bigger situation involved, is that people can be insensitive, like really insensitive, like stupid insensitive, like. And I'm not saying that, and those suggestions sometimes can sit in someone's head and make them feel like that nothing is real.
Units reporting 505.
You know? It can make them feel like, oh my God, we're in the Matrix. It's the reason why this should have never happened. It's like.
Suspect last seen in eastern
And that's the reason why sometimes I don't tell my dad stuff, you know? That's because my dad is not the best parent sometimes. My he's a good guy, he's a really good guy. But he's not the best dad. He's pretty insensitive sometimes. And then people would say that, oh well, at least he was there for you to remember him, and I'm just like, you know what? Sometimes he's really short with me, and it's like I don't, you know, it's like I don't have a dad. I have this dude who's like drinking with me, and we get in an argument, and this dude is just being insensitive. And so to tell you speak. If me and my dad were not me and my dad, then we wouldn't be hanging out very often. Sometimes. It's just... Not to say that he's not my friend or he wouldn't be my friend, but we wouldn't hang out on the regular. I know that for a fact, because my dad grew up with an entirely different idea in his head. An entirely different socioeconomic trend inside of him. He was more about and yeah, I died. But he was more about an equal playing field for all, even though people themselves inherently have inequalities between them. We are created with equal rights. But my dad was big, and he was really strong. He threw a guy with one arm by his nose into an oncoming car. Like, threw him up in the air, and he landed on the oncoming car. Like, one arm. Like, guy weighed like 120, maybe 130 pounds, something like that. So that's my dad. I know that, I mean, know that it's not like a, oh my God, my dad's so violent. No, that guy was an asshole. That guy was like a complete asshole, and he might have deserved it.
Hey, come on, move,
but in that same sense, my dad says stories sometimes about how, oh man, it's just, he changes up the details sometimes to be able to like put himself in a better light, or not in a better light, but more like, hey son, I'm not that fucked up. And I'm like, yeah, Dad, I know you. I know you fucked up. I know you had a fucked up childhood and a whole bunch of different other stuff like that. And I know your mom would leave 6 months at a time and leave you and your sister to just sulk and hate each other for 6 months while y'all had something to eat and food, and she'd leave y'all money, but she wouldn't stay because she was doing stuff. I had both of my parents around, and that's something that I can say, that I had both of my parents around. I remember both of my parents were there all the time. Like my mom was there all the time. Like all the time. Like every single day. My mom was there because she knew that she didn't want to, I'd say us to feel like we were anything like what she like felt like when she, felt that amount of abandonment. And she was there. She was always there, and she was in your face always there. Like, don't fucking eat that there. She didn't say fucking, but don't eat that, god dang it. Every once in a while she'd say god damn it. And it wasn't that hard to like to know what she meant. But I'd say that if I hadn't had the parents that I had, if I hadn't had the upbringing that I had, then I'd probably be a dick. I'd probably be a douchebag. I'd probably blame someone for something and take it out on them, but I don't. Because I have a sense of humor because of it. My dad had a very unique sense of humor, and it was extremely dark. Like, it's like fucked up situations that my dad has been in were nothing. Were like, not were nothing, but were the situations that he was in as far as parenting goes was like, he was like, and people want to say that parenting's such a hard job, and it's like, yeah, but it's not clearing up dead bodies. It's not going in and doing like a freaking terrorist bomb plot thwarting. Not that. So, you know, not that, you know. And you want to say that it's that because, oh, you want to like say that, oh, there's like oh, there's that whole thing. It's like yeah, but it's not diffusing a bomb or disposing of that bomb after you diffused it and then realizing that it can still go off at any time. And then you start to get a sense of humor about other things in life. Or shooting a minigun, you know? That's a thing into what you think is a bush full of your enemies, and then you realize that there are chimpanzees that you just killed. I mean, there's.
Man, you got off lucky, homie.
It's not that kind of doozy, I guess, you know. It's not realizing that oh, you just accidentally misinformed or did a different environment, you know, or like you messed up the environment on accident. It's not that kind of a doozy, you know. It's not private security teams that you know a woman personally, like personally. You know a woman personally who can break 17 bones in a grown man's body in 3 seconds. It's not that kind of urgency, you know? It's not that kind of urgency. It's not that kind of stuff. So it's like, I understand where my dad's coming from, you know? When my dad says stuff like when my dad gets barbecue sauce on his hands, and then he walks around and says to tourists that he just wouldn't stop screaming. So messes with him. I'm just like, Dad, stop it. Oh crap. You know, he accidentally gets barbecue sauce on his hands, and then says the guy just wouldn't stop screaming, and he's got a very twisted sense of humor, and and he's a good guy, but I don't think that I'd hang out with him like more than I already do sometimes. I love him so much, and I try to make as many trips out to where he is, and which I'm not going to divulge, obviously. But my dad's been through some fucked up situations, and I understand that he had to have time to heal through those certain techniques that he used, as far as being oblivious to shit, because that's kind of what I use in a way. It's just like, don't fucking tell me, you know, about your shit and all the stuff you got with your shit. Take all your shit, put it in a bag, bring it to the shit store, sell it. Just take all your shit that you have, like that. Yeah, it's just like that. Like I don't care about your shit. It's just, I really don't care. Like, so much so that it puts you at ease whenever you're around that person. So I know that it puts me at ease to know that my dad loves me no matter what kind of shit I've been in, or what kind of shit has been around me, or what kind of people. My dad's always gonna love me, and I know that. And no matter if we're friends, or if those suggested reflexes, I guess, to be short with people sometimes, or to say that you wish you had a better relationship with each other. You can say that at least you had fun, you know? No matter what kind of relationships, like, come of it, or whatever kind of relationships fall apart, or what kind of people wind up leaving because of, or falling off this mortal coil, I guess. Because we are going in a coil. That's the reason why it's called the mortal coil. Because gravity is slowly but surely working against all of us. And not only the gravity that pushes us down, but the gravity that pulls the sun in, and the sun itself that goes through. Yeah, it's all just killing us. We're gonna have to find a way off the planet, because the physics is destroying our lives and our bodies. And no, my dad isn't as much of a dick as I actually portray him to be. He only perceived to me when I was younger to be that much of a douchebag, because I didn't know where he was coming from. And when I started to hear all the stories that he had been through, and all the things that he had been through, and all the people that he had met along the way, I started to realize that, man, my dad's a really good guy, and he's been through a lot of what people would call in the South trials and tribulations. or with religious people or any of that stuff. Yay, I got rid of the boat.
Man, what the hell is that?
I love my mom for the amount of stuff that she puts up with, and she put up with my dad's bullshit for as long as she could, even though she loved him and love wasn't enough, and they decided to get a divorce, and that didn't break me. That just made me see them for who they really were, individual people, and not just a team, not just people who raised me, but people who had lives before they did. And those lives were affected, I guess, by everything. And I guess they just not couldn't stand each other, but couldn't stand seeing each other that way. And I notice, and I get it. Now that I realize different stuff. Now that I'm older and I'm not defined by just my literal brain workings, and I actually can consume responsibly, I guess, and realize certain things about myself that I probably wouldn't have had they that I probably wouldn't have had I mean, I wouldn't even considered things to be a certain way sometimes. It brought me to the suggestion that I'm getting to, and the suggestion of death and the end for whoever this is on this mortal coil, or how we decidedly just leave or don't exist anymore on this earth. And it's not suicidal thoughts or anything like that. It's just when something ends, it doesn't leave a scar or a mark. I mean, it just resonates with you. You take that experience and you realize that the suggestion of something ending, and you start to realize your own mortality when you're about 10 or 11 years old. And not to say that I needed therapy when I was 10 or 11 years old, because I dealt with it in my own way. And
Eagle Jet, take a name. There's no escape.
I tried to be able to
Suspect eastbound.
son of a bitch. I ran into the stairs. I tried to be able to manage myself in different situations or in different things, and I started to realize that I was good at it. And then my dad basically, like, just knew how to pick my buttons, or push my buttons, and pick at me sometimes with just certain comments that would just make me enraged. But then I had to realize that those comments themselves that enraged me also in some ways made me laugh, because I was laughing at the fact that he was pushing and pulling my strings so effectively that it was so easily avoidable. It's like the most simplest games can make you the most frustrated, because you know you're smart enough to beat it. You know you're smart enough to be able to get through it, but somehow you're just like, you know you're smart enough to beat like just the simplest of games, because it's like they look simple because they're supposed to be looking simple. People look. It's like the dude who has like the bucket that walks down, freaking. It's like you don't know what that guy's doing. Like you don't know. There's like he looks like he's homeless because he's a little bit oily because maybe you didn't take a shower that day. But he could be doing anything. He could literally be an undercover cop. He could be walking around doing whatever. Not to say that that person is walking around anymore right now, because I don't see them ever. Because they've probably moved on to a different state or a different city, because no one has a real long, what's the word? A long, there's a long plan for homeless shelters, I guess. And even the ones that are around sometimes. Like I went to one in Baton Rouge, and it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. I couldn't even sleep. Like literally couldn't sleep.
Officers report a
There was
driver
like I could not sleep. Like there was no sleeping.
the Chilean Mountain State Wilderness.
No. Okay, come on, I don't care. Got it. Yes. I realized that a long time ago that my dad wasn't pushing my buttons to make me angry. He was pushing my buttons, and I realized a long time ago. I realized a pretty good bit into it, into him picking and prodding me and like suggesting things and saying different stuff, and that he was getting me ready for life without him. He was pushing my buttons to make me realize that literally that's what, not everyone, but what some people who don't see the full picture yet are going to do. That people are going to make comments, and they're gonna hit you like a baseball sometimes, and you have two choices whenever it comes to stuff like that. You can strike back with whatever comment you want to, and then have them mess with you, or have them not mess with you, or have them basically pull out a gun and shoot you. But realize that there is solace in the silence. People say that people shouldn't have silence or anything like that, or silence is worse than all the violence. And no, it's not. Silence can keep you surviving. When someone pushes you, or says you're a fucking retard, or says that you don't matter or something like that, just look at them and then walk off. They'll realize the thing they're rebelling against is literally within themselves sometimes. And if they don't, then Talk to someone who can help. Avoid things. Avoid people sometimes who you know are just gonna fight you. Not literal, not word play fight you. Not like say like I like this and you like that. This is the dynamic, right? That's not fighting. That's having a conversation with someone who you're outside of your comfort zone. And I think that's also the reasons why I suggested, or I get suggested from myself to be able to avoid those certain situations sometimes, or even avoid parties where I don't know anyone, or I can't meet anyone, or I can't meet someone that I know. Because it's not like I know those people are out there, or oh my god, those people are gonna get me, or something like that. It's just
Get off that ride, homie.
it's because I'm used to a certain kind of prodding sometimes. And when people really don't get or don't understand, is I don't like it when people do that sometimes. I avoid people. I avoid conversations sometimes, or even anything. If I am the center of attention sometimes, or the center of the party, I'm gonna leave. And that has nothing to do with what my dad's taught me or my dad's tried to push with me. It's just I find that my reflexes sometimes are to protect others, or to try to protect others, or to try to show my stance on a what's the word? On a topic. Yeah, topic. But I know that those reflexes themselves, they bubble up a bigger question sometimes. Is me protecting myself from that conducive, or is me protecting myself from that stopping me from ever enjoying life in a way that could be better if I just tried to enjoy it? And also in that looming question behind all those thoughts is me enjoying the moment itself gonna keep me in, is me and not enjoying the moment itself gonna keep me in a state of panic, or is that moment going to be going to push me to the brink of insanity, or the brink of manicness, or push me to the brink of, oh, I gotta go now, I gotta leave, and this is a situation that I hate to be in. It's like whenever it always stuck with me whenever I watched sitcoms and people would lie about what they were doing to someone that they really liked. It really pushed a button with me. It pushed a button with me, and it made me think that oh, they're trying to say that all relationships are built on lies, and that's the only reason why you would be a part of a relationship or be interested in someone is if they were lying to you, or that most big relationships that you see are based on people lying to each other constantly, but that's not the point. And I really know that that's not the point. And that's not the big issue. I think I think that what people don't understand is that if they base those things on lies, if they base all those things on lies, then that lie itself falls down to their offspring eventually. That lie that built that relationship eventually breaks you of all knowing things, of even understanding the real reasons why your lineage itself could be a lie. Like any of it. Like people could have just made those things up. Any of it. And that's the reason why it keeps me on my toes. It keeps me realizing that the more that I see people in groups or anything like that, the more that I start to realize that
Suspect doing 60 miles per hour on a metallic red motorcycle.
I try to find out sometimes that son of a bitch, he wasn't going there. Alright. But ask your parents about stuff sometimes. And if they can't tell you, even if you're like 40 years old and your parents are 80 or 50 or no, 40 or 55 or anything like that, realize that the difference between a suggested reflex happening later on in your life and you not being able to realize that the only reason why you're feeling a certain way sometimes is because of your lack, or what you feel as though your lack of foundation is. No matter if they're bad, they're good, or anything.
Oh, I don't like this, man.
If you can't find your parents, at least know where they are. Or if you can't find or know who they are. Even if they left this mortal coil, or know who they are, because at least it gives you not just closure, but something to say at a cool party. Something profound to be able to, like, to tell someone else.
Man, fuck this shit.
Because
Oh, well, fuck.
yes, dive bomb the car. 2 cars. because, like, that's the basis of what sometimes people bond on. It's just saying stories or. And I'm gonna see if I can make this car explode. No, I didn't, but I found another car.
I'll look after it, homie, for real. All right, dog.
No matter if you're an introvert or an extrovert, or if you save that story for an individual person or an entire group of people to be able to share with, realize that you're sharing. And sometimes what you have to realize with all those I guess
Woo, too close.
I should be doing period dramas, not this.
oh shit. Okay, I'm gonna.
Whatever. Shit, I was just about to leave. Open the register now. Please don't use that on me.
That show is amazing.
Whatever. I swear there's no more money.
I think that yeah, I just robbed a convenience store because I need more money. Sometimes.
Suspect doing 70 miles per hour on North Rockford Drive in Richmond Glen.
Realize that you can bond with friends and bond with people. The more you have cool stories to tell, but you have to understand that just because you say it in the same tone every single time, because this is what my dad does sometimes. And it's one of the things that used to push my buttons all the time. Is my dad thought that an interesting story was said in a certain tone of voice sometimes. If you say things in a certain tone of voice every single time, Joe, people will still listen to you. And I'm just like, Dad, I know they will listen to you, but will they like it? The things that are coming out of your mouth.
Shit.
So, I don't know, just think about that. So, it's an hour and 9 minutes, and, damn it. Just realized that there are,
Suspect located. In pursuit.
there are big things out there for you if you allow it to be. If you allow yourself to open up to a new thing. Like speak without an accent.
Citizens report a reckless driver on Fort Zancudo Approach Road in Fort Zancudo
You know? Not to say that, like, not to say that there's that anyone else would want you to speak without an accent, but just try it. It's not to say that you have to or anything like that, because I mean, but because my mom's kept her Cajun accent, but she doesn't have to show it. She didn't have to always tell people that she's got an accent sometimes.
Doing 50 miles per hour in
Not to say that you'll be accepted more widely, but just it's a different way. It's better to indulge in stuff that makes you uncomfortable sometimes. Not to say that that I have to speak with an accent whenever I'm talking in Spanish, or whenever I'm fucking up the Spanish language. Or not really. Yeah, I'm fucking up the Spanish language sometimes. But not to say that there's like that if you have to speak with, if you can only speak with an accent, then that's fine. You can only speak with an accent if you want to, or if you, I mean, just like try, you know? And sometimes when you try to do different things, like speak in a different tone of voice, or try to say things in a different tone, or anything like that, you'll open up new thought processes in your brain. Not to say that you'll make your brain bigger or anything like that, but you'll think about things like, because my dad when he speaks German, or when he speaks in a different language, because my dad learned like at least 3 different languages, and he can read in one, he can read and speak in German, and he can read in Spanish, I think. He can read and sometimes speak in Spanish. And he also knows a couple other languages too. And through learning German and Latin, he could basically learn German, Spanish, Italian. In some ways, it was a lot easier to learn. And because my dad speaks or thinks in German whenever he speaks German, or whenever he speaks a different language. So it's like whenever you think in a different language, it's like, it's not only do you have it down, but you're not only do you have it down, but you try to think in that language. Try to, like, before you think about this is what it is, and this is how it is, and this is the way it is, because your brain constantly goes through stuff like that. And if you can stop those processes and rewire yourself to be able to speak in certain tones, or in certain things, like in Cantonese or Mandarin, or any of those other different languages, or Chinese, or Japanese, or Indian, or anything like that, you'll be able to understand certain what's the word? Cultural. It's like the first joke there ever was. What is the first joke there ever was? Think about it. What is the first joke there ever was? What is the first thing? What was it about? What was it in any language? It's about language. It's about the way that you're communicating to someone. The way that you're communicating something to someone, and doing something to someone, or saying something to someone, or trying to communicate whatever you're trying to communicate to someone else. That's the joke that you communicate to them. That's about language. It's about communicating what you're communicating to. And in some languages they actually have subtle nuances that receive, when you receive tone or say tone, it's like that sounds like a certain thing that, like, I don't know, like, oh man, I'm gonna have to study language more, because my dad knows all about it and he told me all about it, and it's very, very funny and also very, very informative. So thank you for listening, and this is Joe Bomb Squad Game Therapy Rants, and I am Joe Bomb Squad, and you are your own one-man bomb squad. You can defuse situations before they happen, and you can make a better tomorrow by being able to defuse the situations of yesterday, today, and even a million years from now. Thank you very much for listening, if you ever do, and if you have, because I wasn't actually paying attention to the timer a lot, because I was mostly just blowing shit up. Let's see, I'm gonna go rob an ammunition.
Hey, come on, move, fucko.
Dude! Wow! What the fuck, dude? What is this? Hey, that shit was fucked up last night.
不可相信！
No! Oh, Jesus! Oh! What the fuck? This is outrageous. You know you're right.
I am doing so well. Alright, I'm done. Have a good day, and make sure you half cross your L's and dot your exclamation points. Alright, thank you. Have a good day. Capital L's. I'm sorry. I didn't mean anything by it.